This is WPTV.
Avengers. I hope they remember you. No! I do hope those that survive remember everything.
Welcome to a special episode of Lights, Camera, Action, where we're going to have a spoiler-heavy discussion of the much-anticipated Avengers Infinity War, so click away if you have not seen it yet. With me today, I have our right-wing Marvel extremist, Joe Greco. After 10 years of hype, Thanos has finally gotten out of his flying chair and is wreaking havoc on the Marvel Universe. The Avengers are left to wondering what their next move is, but I have just one question, Joe. Did the movie live up to the hype?
Camera, Matt, the movie lived up to the hype. Here was my hype. It's literally on the moon right now, is what that movie did.
It was insanity.
It was absolutely...
I can't even put into words.
I literally was speechless at the end of it.
Now, I'm going to be honest. Following, my disdain for Thor Ragnarok. Following that movie, I did not have high hopes for this, especially because the hype level was so high. I was expecting it to just flop.
Yeah.
But it was great from the first 10 seconds.
Rarely do movies that are hyped this much live up to it. And the fact that this does, on the scale that it did, is some feat accomplished by directors and studio that I don't know who else can do it. Because the way they did it, it's just... It was mind-boggling.
They did everything that Justice League did not.
Oh my God! It doesn't even deserve to be in the same league.
No, not at all.
Okay, they're not on the same level at all.
Oh
God.
What were there? 22, 24 main characters? Right?
Sure, let's call that main characters.
Yeah.
24.
So they probably had some pacing issues during the production stage. Do you think it was okay?
I think it was. What I loved about it is it was a 2.5-hour movie. Now, when you're in a movie theater for that long, you do get bored occasionally. In this movie, what they did to prevent that is that they stuck the whole first hour of the movie with action sequence after action sequence with partial storytelling in between, and then they kind of cut a big chunk of storytelling in between to bring it up to the final act. Now, when a movie does that, you're fully entertained the whole time, which is what this movie did great. I was never bored. Never did I feel like no, I never felt like that. It was just everything on screen was just mind-blowing and just eye-popping. It was insane.
And I mean, it starts out with such a shocker.
Oh my God.
It starts out, well, I mean, for those of you that have seen the movie, we're going into spoilers now. Loki.
All right, listen, if you didn't gather by the Loki tried to take over the Earth to get the Tesseract for Thanos. Yeah. And failed.
In the first Avengers
movie. First Avengers. Yeah. And failed. And now, since then, he's been hiding from him, basically. And now it's time to come to fruition here. So when at the end of Ragnarok, when you see Thanos' ship, that's the opening scene of the movie, literally. Like, it goes right from that to this. Yeah. And then Loki gives Thanos a Tesseract. He thinks he'll get his salvation. No. What happens, camera? You tell me.
Well, Thanos uses his big, mighty hands to just grasp Loki's neck and just kind of like crumple it a little bit. A little bit of crumplage there.
Yeah, Loki died.
Loki died.
For real this time.
Yeah. I don't think he's coming back.
He's not coming back from that. Definitely I'm sorry. The God of Mischief cannot survive that.
Yeah, but no, the first scene is just Loki dies, Thor gets the crap kicked out of him, and Hulk.
The Hulk gets his ass kicked.
He gets his ass kicked in the first 10 minutes of the movie, and that's just to introduce the villain.
Oh my God. Not even right there, you know that this villain means business. You know that he's not going to be the typical Marvel one, the one-off villain. This guy is here to stay. He means business. He is not going to give any sort of sentiment to anybody.
He literally broke the Hulk's nose.
Yeah, literally. He choke slammed the Hulk.
Who does that? No one can do that.
Oh my God.
I mean, segueing into the characters, I mean, it must be nearly impossible for any studio to fit in adequate screen time for each individual character. But I personally feel like this movie did it very well. But
It did.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the Russos have had experience in that area with Civil War. They were balancing about, I'm going to say, 10 to 11 characters to give Adams. They were introducing Spider-Man into that movie.
Yeah.
And they did it with precise, like, they did it perfectly. Now with this, it's doubled. You got, not only do you have every Avenger ever seen in any of the movies, you have the Guardians. The Guardians have 2 movies with a backstory, so you have to give them what their usual Guardian stuff is. And they did it. How they managed to do it, and this movie isn't 4 hours long, is ridiculous. But they did. It was amazing. I think the Guardians they featured, they didn't change them at all. They kept every character the way we know and love them. Yeah. Tony Stark is still his funny, quippy self. The Guardians are still funny. It's just they kept everybody, and they gave everybody the adequate screen time they deserved.
Yeah, the one quip I really liked from Tony Stark was when he called one of the aliens that visited Earth. He was like, "What's up, Squidward?"
Oh my God! Yeah, one of Thanos' like general people literally looks like Squidward, and Voldemort had a kid. So there's a SpongeBob reference in this movie. If that doesn't make you happy on the inside, what are you doing?
Yeah, I know. That brought me a lot of joy.
It really did.
I mean, in terms of the villains, I mean, the generals. The general people, I guess what we'll call them. They're
called the Black Order. They're called the
Black Order, right? I didn't know that. They're like the higher-ranking people in Thanos' army. Yeah. I thought they worked in some places, didn't work in other places, but
yeah, it's like that thing. Yeah. We'd never seen them before, so it's like they wanted to add another element of destruction to this movie, so that Thanos isn't just fighting everybody, that he has other people. For when they did show up, like in the final battle sequence, when Scarlet Witch, Black Widow, and Okoye are fighting Proxima Midnight, the girl one.
Yeah,
that was
cool.
Badass because like
really,
they were kicking her ass, and she was just like done. So like you know, it could have been better. I agree, but the Black Order, I mean, but I was fine with the way it is, honestly.
Yeah, but Thanos himself, how do you think he fit into the movie?
Okay, there are ways to make villains work. The way Marvel has done it works and doesn't work at occasional times. You know, when they have the one-off villains. Loki is their best villain by a mile because he's been around the longest and it is the most cynical.
He's a complex villain too.
Very deep backstory. Thanos we kind of know about, but not too much. But again, they managed to give us a Thanos backstory that we like kind of felt for. And let me just say, Josh Brolin did an amazing job as this villain. And when you're playing a CGI villain, that's hard to do because it's kind of unbelievable. But first of all, the CGI on him
he brought it to this role.
He brought it big time, and the CGI was like super believable. I'd never for a minute did I think, oh, this guy looks like just a big purple grape. He looks like Grimace from McDonald's, which Star-Lord called him, which is great.
Called him Grimace. That was another quip that was hilarious.
But yeah, he was a perfect amount of evil and just the perfect guy to do what he did.
And there was a very emotional moment in the movie, which involved a big character's death. He had to. Do you want to say what it was?
Okay. So, at the end, if you saw the trailers, you know that what Gamora says is, if he gets all the Infinity Stones, he can wipe out half the universe with the snap of his fingers. Now, that could be just an exaggeration. It's not. At the end of this movie. He does just that as Thor stabbing him with an axe. He snaps his fingers with a full Infinity Gauntlet, goes to white, we come back, and heroes start dissipating.
Literally just
they start disintegrating.
Vaporizing into thin air.
Disintegrating.
Let's
go down the list here.
All right,
I'll start lower. Bucky, he's gone.
Bucky was the first one to drop.
Falcon, gone.
Falcon.
Vision didn't even get disintegrated. Vision got the Mind Stone ripped out of his head.
Literally ripped out of his head, and he just went gray. I thought that was interesting.
He just like turned off. Wanda, Scarlet Witch, gone.
What was that? Black Panther.
Was
one of the first ones.
The King of Wakanda, whose movie just blew us all away, is now dead.
Yeah.
He dissipated.
And then they went into what? Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, Star-Lord.
Spider-Man. Let's go back for a second here. Spider-Man. Okay, if you're a Marvel fan and you love Spider-Man, oh my God.
I mean, Spider-Man has been my favorite hero since the dawn of time.
Literally,
so, like, that was heart-wrenching for me.
He died in Tony Stark's arms. And let it be known that the original Avengers, they're all fine. None of them died, but they're just left completely in ruins. after what Thanos did. It was ridiculous. It was so heartbreaking. I literally cried. And then there's an after credit scene. Who dies in that one?
Nick Fury.
Nick Fury literally dissipates.
Yeah, so I liked the ending personally.
I loved it too.
I was a fan of it. I thought it was very emotional, very gripping.
It needed that ending.
What would you say you would rate this movie?
Like I said in the beginning, this movie totally blew my expectations out of the water. It was one of the best Marvel movies I've ever seen. It's definitely in the top 5 now. It's the top 5 superhero movies I've ever seen, honestly. And just, it was fantastic. I give it a 9 out of 10. If I'm giving
9 out of 10?
If I'm giving it an out of 10 rating, absolutely.
What happened to that 1?
I'm just covering bases.
No, yeah, I got you. This is probably my favorite since Iron Man 1. But thank you for joining me, Joe. But that's all the time we have for this episode. This has been another episode of Lights, Camera, Action on Press Start. And I'm sorry to say that we're taking summer break off. But don't worry, you can get your fixing of nerd news, movie, and video game reviews when we return next semester with all new content. This has been Matt Cameron with Press Start, and see you next time. That's it.